Hi, Adventure Alan here, and I'm excited to talk to you about our top picks for the best hiking shoes for 2021. And 2021 has been an exciting year because all of a sudden efficiency or high efficiency shoes have entered into the regular hiking world. What separates the Adventure Allen guide from all the other guides is you're not going to hear about any of this energy efficiency stuff. And we are looking at the future. So we're talking about this high efficiency running technology and how it applies to hiking. And we actually have some shoes available in 2021 that use that technology. Remember, it's two things. It is a carbon fiber spring plate in the shoe and this very high energy return foam, or in this case a foot pod that returns more of your energy and helps you hike faster at no extra effort on your part. It all started with this pink Nike or orange Nike shoe here. This is the Alpha Fly Next Percent. It is the shoe that Eliud Kipchoge used to break the sub-2-hour marathon. And the high efficiency technology that increased running speed is now trickling down into hiking shoes that are available to mere mortals and hikers like you or I. And before you go, well, I'm just not a high-tech person and this has nothing to do with me. These shoes feel like a totally normal shoe. They're comfortable. There's nothing really particularly odd about them. They just have the potential to help you hike faster. If you see the same energy efficiency and speed gains in hiking that you see in these running shoes, the average through hiker on the Appalachian Trail would likely finish a week or a week and a half earlier wearing a pair of shoes like these or these as opposed to a more traditional hiking shoe. Okay, so I'll point out all the same features that are in this Alpha Fly Zoom Next Percent exist in this North Face Flight Vective shoe. You can't see it, but this shoe also has a full carbon plate. You can actually see a little bit of it sticking out in the heel cup back here, but it has a full carbon plate. It also has high energy return foam. It's a dual density foam of high energy return. I think the white is softer and the black is denser. And another thing which these shoes have, and I'll talk about, is they have this usually lighter fabric, and they have a fully gusseted tongue, and then basically the tongue and the upper shoe is one and the same. And very light, high-tech fabrics that don't weigh a lot but provide a lot of support. So all of that has sort of trickled down into a shoe like this, but it has a more aggressive high-traction trail sole to it. It's got a toe bumper. It's got heel counters. So it's sort of reinforced the way a trail shoe would be. Whereas if you look at this Alpha Fly Next Percent, it's got tread up here. It doesn't even really have much rubber back here because they don't even really expect you to be landing on your heel. So these are like a nice blend of what's important about the high efficiency of the running shoe, but understanding the needs of someone that's a trail runner or a hiker. Okay, so let's talk about our shoes, our top hiking shoe picks for 2021, and we'll start with our top pick for 2021, and this is the Hoka OneOne Challenger ATR 6 shoe. It is our lightest shoe at 10.3 ounces, and it is a great on-trail shoe and a very good off-trail shoe. A very versatile shoe, in fact. You can use it even on pavement. It has a very light sole, which has the lugs are not too aggressive or squiggly on buff or good trail, or even if you're hiking pavement, but they have enough grip for technical terrain. This is sort of zonal rubber placement, which puts rubber where you need it and not where you don't, which saves weight. These shoes have a very nice sort of medium fit, which we feel in a 6 millimeter drop, which we feel is good for most feet. One of the things we like about this shoe is it's kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and it's just right. It's got a medium width. It's not too tight. It's not too snug. The drop is not too high, not too low. You know, we feel that this shoe is well suited to most hikers, where a very high drop would be too much, a zero drop would be too little and maybe give your calf and Achilles strain. And the really wide shoes tend to be a little sloppy. So this shoe is kind of like the perfect middle ground for most hikers. So these shoes have a nice stack height, so plenty of cushion with good energy return foam. So you have a fair amount of good foam there for foot protection, comfort. But we don't feel it's too tall or too tippy to impair our trail experience. The sort of downsides of the shoe, if there are some people, if you're not a real fan of these high shoes, although this stack isn't as high as it looks, may find the shoe a little tippy. If you're on super technical terrain, this area where it doesn't, in the instep where it doesn't have any rubber might be an issue, but again, you'd have to be on like super icy trails or slippery rocks, logs or rocks, and step on this part of the shoe. For most people, the weight savings is going to be welcome. And finally, compared to our super shoes, this is not the highest tech, highest energy return foam. We would, consider it a mid-tier foam on the shoe. And finally, this is a very reasonably priced shoe. One of its strengths, this is like a $130 shoe. That's a lot of tech to get in a $130 shoe, which is another reason why it made it to our top picks. Okay, now we're going to talk about one of the most popular shoes, which is the Ultra Lone Peak. The oldest model, or the previous model, was the 4.5. The 5 is just out. I actually have another person reviewing the shoe.
Hey there, so I actually just got back from a run in my new Lone Peak 5s, and I am so excited to share with you all what I absolutely love about them. So the Lone Peak is Ultra's most classic trail runner, used by thru hikers, backpackers, trail runners. This shoe has been around for years and we've loved it, but the new upgrades on this model just take it to a whole new level. So the main thing we want to highlight is this midsole, this new high energy return foam midsole upgrade. We'll get to that later. First though, the basic design of this shoe, it has Ultra's signature wide toe box, which basically is made to fit the shape of your foot. And so what this does in combination with the zero drop design is it mimics your natural stride. So the zero drop means that there is no difference between the stack height on the heel and the stack height on the toe. So when your foot is striking the ground, it's doing so as it naturally would with a bare foot, with the toe box giving your toes plenty of room to spread out. So this is great. It helps protect your knees. It just helps overall your foot and joint health because you're using what you naturally should be. The only thing to be aware of is if you are used to a higher drop shoe, it might cause some initial strain on your Achilles or calves, but you can transition to it easily. Just take it easy on yourself. So digging into this high energy return foam midsole, it just, as I said before, takes the shoe to a whole new level. So Ultra has used high energy return foam in their road running shoes for a while now, but this is their first time putting it into a trail running shoe. And it's called the Ultra Ego technology. Basically, what it's designed to do is use the energy that your foot is placing upon it to spring you into the next step. So for me, I love trail running, and I have some local trails by my house that I access via road. And what I love about this shoe is that it's transitioning from the road to the trail so easily. So I can bust out a quick mile on the road and then feel just as comfortable on the trail. And I think this makes the shoe just incredibly versatile, especially if you're backpacking and you might encounter a section of road walking or walking on pavement, whatever it might be. So that, in combination with the full rubber outsole with these lugs, gives excellent traction. So far, I live in Utah, there's no shortage of snow. I've been running on icy trails at a moderate grade, and I haven't had to use spikes yet. They do a really good job of keeping me in place. I feel secure. I've been running on ice, snow, a bit of mud, and I have been very impressed. I cannot wait to keep using this shoe throughout the spring and the summer. It's just going to transition so nicely from the trail, off-trail backpacking and hiking, and to the road again. One last thing to go over. The mesh outsole, the upper outsole, it's fully interwoven. So no dust or debris can get in there. This is great. If you've ever been hiking in the desert or southern Utah, you might have had the experience of taking your shoes off and dumping sand down. This shoe does a great job of keeping all of that out. So we love using it in the desert, in the summer. We are super excited about this newest model of the Lone Peak 5, and we cannot wait to hear what your thoughts are on them as well.
Obviously, you can tell this shoe is well used. Sole's pretty worn, it's a little mucked up. I mean, I've worn these shoes. I wore one pair of Ultras. I trained to go to Patagonia. Allison and I went and did a whole bunch of hiking in Patagonia, including the Patagonia Southern Ice Shelf. I came back, I trained for Alaska, I guided in Alaska in the same pair of Ultra Lone Peaks. Okay, so a few cons to the shoes. This loose forefoot, which is so comfortable, is kind of a double-edged sword. If you're on sloping or steeply technical terrain, your forefoot can slide around this shoe. It can get pretty dicey and unpleasant. So not necessarily the best fit for super technical hiking. We have had no durability issues with the shoes, but some people, I guess it depends on use and the wearer, some people have had some durability issues with the shoe. And finally, this Ultra Ego foam, which is like a 2016 technology foam. So some of these other higher tech shoes over here have a higher energy return foam than these shoes. And on a plus side, these are another relatively inexpensive shoe. I think they're about $130. So for a reasonably high-tech trail shoe, a good value. Okay, moving on to the Hoka OneOne Speedgoat 4. This is our top pick for a technical trail shoe. In contrast to the Challenger ATR, you'll see this has a lot more rubber on the sole, and it's got a deeper, more aggressively lugged sole. It has also got a snugger, slightly narrower fit, and it has also a little bit more stack height to it. This is the shoe that Jeff Legend Garmeyer used to set the FKT on the Colorado Trail recently. So this is a shoe that's up to any sort of gnarly off-tail technical trail. Obviously it's up to long distances, and obviously it's a fast shoe. Again, it's got some fairly good rubber in here, and that stack height allows it to get more of that rubber underneath your foot, which helps with efficiency and trail comfort. It's also got a slightly burlier upper to the shoe, a little bit more reinforcement on it than the ATR Challenger. So this is a shoe for off-trail travel. It'll do anything. It was originally, the name the Speedgoat came from Karl Metzer, a world-renowned ultra runner, and this was a shoe designed for him. His nickname was Speedgoat. So the only real downsides to the shoe really are, if you're just hiking on AT or buff trails, this is kind of overkill. You could actually go with the lighter, shallower lugged ATR Challengers. A few cons on this shoe. As I mentioned earlier, it's a little heavier. It's a few dollars more expensive. And the stack height's a little higher, and it's a little narrower shoe. So again, it might be a little tippy for some people. And again, compared to these two higher tech shoes I'm going to talk about, this is sort of a mid-tier energy return foam. It's not the highest tech energy return foam. But this may be the one shoe that can do it all, and it's still not incredibly expensive. So it's worth serious consideration for many hikers. Okay, so we're finally here. We're into the fun stuff. They're into the high-tech shoes, the shoes that are incorporating this running shoe technology into a trail running or a shoe well suited to hiking and ultralight backpacking. And again, there's nothing scary about these shoes. They hike like a normal shoe. They're just more efficient, albeit they'll cost you a little more money. So, as I said, there are two elements that you need in this shoe and these shoes. And one is you need that sole plate, the carbon fiber sole plate, or some sort of springboard plate in the sole. And then you need the super high energy return foam. And both these shoes have it. So I'm going to start here with this On Cloud Ultra. And just to eliminate confusion, On is a Swiss-based running company started in 2010. So the company's name is On, O-N. And they do high-end running gear. So this is the Cloud Ultra, and it is their super high-tech running shoe. It has a CloudTech Speedboard energy return plate running the shoe. You can't see it, it's embedded in the shoe, but it is there. And you can see it's kind of stiff and springy there. And then it has what they call their Hellion Super Foam, which is a dual stiffness energy return midsole. Again, this is using a high energy return midsole. One of the things we like about this shoe, it's got sort of a lower forefoot stack height. You can see that even though the heel is fairly high, the forefoot is fairly lower, and it's got a pretty aggressively lugged sole. So it's got really a good grippy trail feel with great traction. You got a good sensitivity to feel what's going on. It has an 8mm drop from forefoot to heel. That's about as high as we like. It would suit hikers used to a traditional hiking shoe or people that run in a fairly high drop shoe. If you're used to a lower drop shoe, this might take a little getting used to. We didn't have any issues with it. We've done running and hiking in it, and it feels fine to us, but that's worth noting. One cool feature it has is it has this little flip release thing. So at the end of a long day, when your forefoot starts to swell and you want to loosen the laces up to give your toes a little more room, if you flip this thing over, it gives you extra room in the toe without having to unlace the shoe and chase your laces down to loosen up down there. And this is a pretty light shoe. This is like an 11.5-ounce shoe, so it's about the same weight as the Speedgoats here. But it has incorporated that whole plate and all this technology in it. So pretty nice accomplishment by the company On. Downsides, it's expensive. And while it has an energy return plate in there, it's not a carbon plate. Again, we said the 8mm drop might be a bit much for some hikers. This fully gusseted tongue, which you're going to see in almost all the shoes like this, used in the Nike shoe here. It's going to be in these North Face shoes you see. It makes the shoe a little harder to put on. If nobody's heard of a shoe horn, we could see the argument for a titanium shoe horn to help you get these shoes on. And again, the sole outs, it has more rubber than on the ATR Challenger, but is not a full rubber outsole. That saves weight, it puts traction where you need it, but it isn't a full rubber outsole. And again, this durability of this shoe is unproven. I mean, we've got a couple hundred miles in these shoes, but that's not a whole season of hiking. So the verdict is still out on how durable this shoe is going to be. But again, very exciting to see essentially high-end running technology into a trail shoe that's suitable for hiking and ultralight backpacking. All right, the last shoe, and I think we actually saved the highest tech shoe, maybe the best shoe for last, we'll see. This is the North Face Flight Vective. It is our highest tech shoe. It is the only trail shoe that we know of that is actually using a full carbon fiber plate. You can actually see a bit of that, I think that's it, with the heel cup sticking out of here. And then it's got this high energy return foam, this Vective foam, and it's a dual density foam using different stiffnesses and softnesses in different parts of the shoe to tune it to give you even more forward propulsion. It is also the lightest high-tech shoe. It's an ounce lighter than the On Cloud Ultra. It's a 10.8 ounce shoe, which is a pretty amazing accomplishment given how much high energy return rubber and the full carbon plate that's in it. Again, like the Cloud Ultra, this has a lower forefoot and a higher heel, although the stack height is not as much as the Cloud Ultra. This is only a 6 millimeter stack height, which for us is kind of the sweet spot. And again, this is not a scary shoe. It fits kind of like a normal shoe. It has a fair, it's not too narrow. It's not too snug. The drop is reasonable, so it hikes well. We don't really notice it at all when we're hiking, other than it feels great and it's fast. So again, a good choice for people transitioning pretty much from any shoe. Shouldn't have too much struggle moving onto this shoe. The cons for this shoe, let's talk about the sole. So also one of the things we like about the shoe is pretty much a full rubber sole with a decent grip on it. So for that 10.8 ounces, you also get this full rubber sole. The only other shoe that we saw that on here is the Ultra Lone Peak there. So this is kind of checking all the boxes. The cons, you get what you pay for. So this is the most expensive shoe. It's listing for $200. You are not going to get it discounted because I actually went through a lot of effort to get a hold of these shoes to test because very few people have them in stock. Why they did it in white, I have no idea. I mean, if you wanted to pick exactly the wrong color for a trail shoe, it would be white. This thing, and I've gone to great pains not to get it dirty before I shoot it, but you go through a muddy trail and this shoe is gonna, So we're hoping they find a colorway or a different color scheme for this shoe besides white. Again, it is a fully gusseted tongue, which makes it kind of hard to get on and off, especially harder to get on. And again, like the Cloud Ultra, we've only got a few hundred miles on this shoe, and so its durability is yet unproven. It does obviously have some features that make it look like a trail runner and some reinforcements, but long-term durability of either of these shoes compared to a shoe like any of these shoes over here, like the Speedgoats, the ATR Challengers, or the Ultra Lone Peak, all of which sort of have proven durability. They're years of iterations. These shoes are both fairly new and unproven. But we're super excited to try them out. And we do see this as the future of trail shoes. So these shoes are kind of ranked right here in the level of technology they use. This North Face Flight Vective essentially has all the technology of this shoe adapted to trail runner. It's got a full carbon plate, and it has the high energy return foam, and it has a fairly high stack height. But it's adapted to trail running with a trail running sole and trail running reinforcements. So a blend of this and a trail runner. This On shoe comes very close. It's a little heavier, and it doesn't have a full carbon fiber plate, but it is a spring plate. It's just not carbon fiber. And it also has high energy return foam. Both these shoes are around $200, so you're going to pay for it. Moving down, I would call these kind of like your traditional mid-tier hiking shoes, but definitely above the regular hiking shoes. They all have some form of a high energy return foam. They all have a reasonable stack height. They have different purposes and different designs. This is more of the Speedgoat is more of a technical trail shoe with the higher stack height and more aggressively lugged sole. It's a little more expensive and heavily lugged. This is our top pick, which is the Hoka OneOne ATR 6 Challenger 6. It is more of a trail shoe. It is our lightest shoe, has a shallower lug sole, zonal rubber placement, reasonable amount of energy return foam, although not the highest energy return foam. And finally, upgraded for 2021 is the Ultra Lone Peak 5, which is now using the higher energy return foam from their Escalante trail running shoe. So brought a little bit more up to speed. All these shoes are pretty reasonably priced in the $130 to $140 range. But again, this guy does have budget shoes as well. But again, there's nothing scary about these shoes other than the price tag. So we're super excited to see how they pan out, but we think these could very well be the future of many fastest known times, FKTs, and people that are interested in briskly hiking along the trail with less effort. We hope that you found this roundup of our best hiking shoes of 2021 useful. Again, we have a written guide that has a lot more shoes, including conventional hiking shoes, budget shoes, and a lot more choices. Please check the comment section at the end of this video. It will have a link to our written guide. If you found this review useful, go ahead and like the video. Go ahead and like and follow the Adventure Allen channel. Click on that bell for all our great new content so you can get notified of it. And we're so happy that you listened to this video. So until next time, this is Adventure Allen signing out.